If my music job ever got in the way of the Nickelodeon job, I will bow out of the music. That's how invested I am working at Nickelodeon and the people that I work with.
Yeah.
And so far it has not. So I ended up building a mix room. I only want to work with people that I enjoy. The projects have to go into it where it's high energy, we're having fun all the time.
Yeah.
If it's not fun or if it becomes a chore, I don't want to be a part of it. Every time I walk into my studio, I feel charged. Clients that come out love the vibe. It is literally my dream studio.
Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of my interview with Ryan Greene, music producer, sound engineer, and all-around great guy. Thank you so much for tuning into Alicyn's Wonderland. Let's get right to it. And what a gift to have a career where you get to use your art and use your soul.
Well, that's the uplifting part. I could be behind the console and working on a song, and it doesn't matter what's happening outside of that room. When you're in there and you're focused, and it's like you could feel it in your soul. Or, being at Nickelodeon, I'm dyslexic. So reading has always been a challenge. How amazing is it that you have the best voice actors in the world reading you a story?
Yeah.
So I'm not just engineering. I'm like 100% invested in what is being said at all times. And there are times where I just want to go to the end of the script and see how it plays out. So I'm listening, but I'm really like absorbing everything. And then even when it's different intent, where a voice director may say something and the talent will be like, oh, okay. And they'll give another 3 reads and you're going, oh my gosh, well, this totally makes sense. Bless you. Does that mean somebody's thinking about you?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that out
That's amazing. Somebody's thinking about me on this lovely Saturday.
It is a beautiful Saturday.
How are you doing with tea, by the way? Do you need some more?
I'm doing good. I'm almost there.
Okay. Take me back. Okay, we're kind of bouncing around from music to video, but it's all sort of interconnected.
100%.
I'm just picturing like the punk rock scene and like you work with no effects and, just pivotal kind of helped define that sound of skater punk in the 90s. Like, what was that experience like?
I went into it. Well, it was interesting because I met Brett Gurwitz, who was the guitar player for Bad Religion at EMI.
Okay.
So.
Oh, great. So we're just picking right back up where we left off.
Right? Like we do.
Yeah, like we do.
And I did 3 songs for Bad Religion, and Brett walked out of the studio, came back in and asked me if I would be interested in doing records. It was like, this is the best thing our band's ever done. I have this little record label. I would like to hook you up with some bands. And I was like, absolutely. So 3 weeks later, I'm in the studio with the band NoFX.
Is this a new job or is this in conjunction with
In conjunction. Oh. So what I did with EMI was I worked, I was doing a little bit of touring with an artist named Jack Wagner.
So does that mean helping to record on tour? What exactly
So I was
does that
mixing
look like?
front of house.
Mixing, okay.
So everything was, it was all the mixing.
Interesting.
And my deal with EMI was I was hired as chief engineer and studio manager. So if I was unable to engineer, I could bring in one of my friends to cover my job. I will still studio manage. I will just do it from afar.
That's convenient.
So and it was a deal I set up with Pat Lucas, and she was amazing. Like the first time that I met her, she was very real. She was running the West Coast office. So it was very, very easy to talk with her and really negotiate what I wanted to do in my career. And she really understood it and allowed me to go off and, go on tour for a week or 2 or do this or do that. So I just took that and moved that into doing records. So Brett hired me to work with NoFX, and I didn't know anything about the genre. Brett
What kind of music were you listening to at that time?
Cheap Trick, Aerosmith, Motley Crue. I mean, all the rock, like really heavy, all the rock stuff.
Okay.
And Brett gave me a couple of their past records, and was like, oh, okay, great, and just went into it. And I didn't want to have any preconceived notions. I just wanted to go into it fresh.
Yeah.
What is this band? Let's see, we'll figure it out together. And that's what we did. And did the first record for, they've already had many records out before the one that I did. But when we finished it, because we did 17 songs in 14 days, produced, engineered, and mixed.
That's Punk in Trouble.
Yes. Nice.
Fun to say.
Yes. And when I listened to it and when it was done and after it was mastered, I thought my career was over.
Why is that?
Because it was the worst sounding thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh my God.
I just did not think it sounded good. I was really upset. And next thing you know, it blows up, huge record. And then Fat Records and Mike called me to do another record and another record. And one of the funniest stories, where you talk about paths, where Francis Buckley was the chief engineer for MCA Music. And France was working with Glenn Ballard, who was a producer, writer. And Francis calls me one day and says, Glenn would like to know if you would come over and learn the room. He goes, Francis goes, I'm going out to work with Quincy. Glenn really wants to keep things in the family, would like you to come over and engineer this project that he's working on. Didn't say any name. And I said, I would love to. I'm going out to do a record right now, but I'll be back in 10 days. It's great, no problem. So I go do the record, come back. I'm back at EMI, call Francis. It's like, okay, let's set up a time next week. Great. Next week is perfect. And I get another call from Fat Records to do another band. And I call Francis. So I'm like, I'm going to be gone for another 10 days. And he goes, okay, we still have time. Come back. And then I get another call from Mike to do another record. So about a year later, listening to the radio, and this artist is all over the radio. It's a bit of a big record, the Jagged Little Pill record.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Alanis Morissette. And
wow, that is just so much of my youth right there. One little record.
So I went out and I finally bought the record. And I'm looking at the credits because I kept hearing songs and the writing style sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
And then I look on the credits and it was written by, or co-written by Glenn Ballard. And I was like, okay, that's why it sounds so familiar, because I recognize, Glenn's writing style. And then I'm looking at the credits and I look at the engineer and I'm like, I don't recognize that name. And I look under the special thanks and it's Francis Buckley. So I call Francis. I was like, what's the deal? I thought that, you normally engineer and mix everything that Glenn does. He goes, well, you remember when we were trying to get you over to the house to engineer? And I said, yes. He goes, it was for that project.
They couldn't say.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. So, that was my one, well, there was a couple of them, but that was like one of the things that it was just a little bit of a miss.
Yeah.
That I could have engineered and mixed that one. But, but it's funny how things work out.
Yeah.
Because everything else that I've done after that, so there's never any regret. It was just like, well, that happened, but look at this path.
On to the next.
Yeah.
Wow. So you have a studio right now that you work out of.
I do.
Talk to us a little bit about your studio and your current projects.
Nick has become my full-time job, and
Nickelodeon,
yeah. Not Nick, Nickelodeon.
Guy was Nickelodeon.
Let's be clear. I always mention to Justin that if my music job ever got in the way of the Nickelodeon job, I will bow out of the music. That's how invested I am working at Nickelodeon in the people that I work with.
Yeah, yeah.
And so far it has not, but I felt that it was time for me to pull back a little bit. Evolve
into the new.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I closed my studio down in North Hollywood at the beginning of 2022. Yeah, that's about right. And ended up building a mix room. And the intent of that room is I only want to work with people that I enjoy. Not saying that I don't enjoy everyone.
On some level.
But the projects have to go into it where it's high energy, people are great, we're having fun all the time.
Yeah.
If it's not fun or if it becomes a chore, I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So
nice, empowered.
And I love it. It is fantastic. Every time I walk into my studio, I feel charged. Clients that come out love the vibe. It's it is literally my dream studio because it's convenient. The people that I have coming in, and I love working with new artists.
Yeah.
So if anybody from my past, we have the opportunity to work together again, then it will have to all be worked around my schedule at Nickelodeon. But right now I have 56 songs to mix, working with people that I haven't worked with before. Some I have. Some of those 56 songs, some of them I'm producing, engineering, mixing. Some of them I'm just mixing.
Just mixing.
And I haven't gone out to look for any of it. It all just came right when I finished my studio. So is it luck or is it my path?
I'm going to go with your path.
I would agree with you. Cheers to that.
Your path. Great. So,
and my path led me here.
I know. I'm so excited.
This is beautiful.
Thank you. This is the hair light went out again. Every single week. It's like something with that light. It was taped to the ceiling and it was like falling off on my desk. And now it's just shutting off. So I don't know what your deal is, Key Light. But yeah, I mean, you have such good energy from the minute I met you. You made me feel, I remember at the time we were dealing with like a Source Connect issue that was very stressful. Usually, especially somebody who's had a home studio since pre-COVID, where they expect you things to never go wrong. I think with the advent of COVID and more actors that didn't have home studios being then asked to engineer, there's maybe a little bit more understanding and compassion for voice actors. But for me, having any kind of tech issue where I'm not the most technically inclined person. I know how to run my studio, but when something breaks and being like, what is going on with Source Connect? Like, it just wasn't working. And then you were just like this calm beacon in the night, just keeping me grounded, helping me out. So thank you for that. That was amazing.
You're more than welcome.
Aww.
And I never thought that, being in this environment, well, nobody ever thought that we would end up being in this environment.
Yeah.
And for everything that all the actors do now working from home, that you've become engineers.
Yeah. And so you are actually physically in the studio, right? You don't ever engineer from home?
We did engineer from home for about a year and a half, and came up with a template design that allowed us to do what we would do at Nick at home, but because of Source Connect and things like that, figured out a way to not only just do one, but we could do multiples. So the largest ensemble that I've done with 17 people at once. And
wow.
The workflow allowed us to do that. But it also...
Does that include producers?
No,
or is that
was just
17 talent? Oh my goodness. Was that for Loud House or?
No, that was for Big Nate.
Big Nate. Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a lot.
And, but how we were able to do it was because...
I had Arnie and Ben on the show, by the way.
Oh, I love Arnie and Ben.
They're so fun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're great people.
Duo interview.
That had to have been very entertaining.
It was. We had a good time.
Oh, yeah. I can just imagine. We have a good time when we're doing that show, too. Yeah, they are hilarious. But we're able to do these things because the actors are able to are patient with and go through the tech issues and anything that comes up. We'll all get through it as a team. Can't do it without everybody being invested in it.
Wow. And so what does your job look like then? Are you in the studio? How does it all work?
So we are, now we're in the studio. Mm-hmm. Our setup is in all three studios, all exactly the same. So everything has consistency through it. And, we walk in, we have our 4 TV monitors. Everything is very specific on what we have where. So we're able to, if I need to step out for a moment, Manny would be able to jump right into my session and not even think about it. Mm-hmm. It would just be just seamless. Mm. So it is the talent signs in, and if it's either 1 or 8 or 12, doesn't matter. For me, if we have a large ensemble, I let everybody in. Let everybody know to please keep their cameras off, mics muted. We'll go through the setup like roll call. Uh-huh. If anybody talks when they shouldn't be talking, I will send them to their room. It's a breakout room, but it's still their room. And we have fun with it, and we go through all the tech issues. And there's some times where you have a large ensemble and somebody's computer goes down or internet issues, and everybody has to sit in the background, which I don't know how actors are able to. You're in that mode of acting, and now all of a sudden there's tech issues. So now your brain goes somewhere completely different.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest challenges with recording at home. That and not being able to feel, if you're a kinesthetic person, feel the energy in the room. You're kind of needing to create the energy in a little bit of a different way. Right.
But you get back into it.
Yes, you're constantly having to, right? You have to get back to the story and how can I be of service to the circumstances of the story and be present to that. And it's all, voice acting is very unique because we don't have a lot to go off of. We're just really using our imaginations, and oftentimes we don't even have, like on Rugrats, we don't even have the other actors who
right.
brought in one at a time. That's how Charlie likes to work. I'm assuming that's a Charlie thing. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so you're able to read the script. There's an intent. You have the voice director to help guide through.
And they're a huge part of that. Yeah.
And then another tech issue happens and you're snapped out of it, and then all of a sudden back in. And
no stress.
No, none at all. But you're able to do it. I feel that our job is on the engineering end of it. In a way, there are challenges, but those challenges run very much in the background. Mm. But for actors to be able to perform, and then something goes out, and then that stress level happens, and I'm so sorry, and it's like, this is technology, and then it gets addressed, and then okay, go.
Wow.
Now you're back on. And how you do that. And you're always able to read the story, which I appreciate.
Yes. It's like entertaining.
It is. It's, I never even knew that this job existed when I grew up watching cartoons.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't even think that there was a human that's doing this. I just took it as this is just what it is. I never looked into it.
There's talking cows.
There absolutely there is.
Bears that emote. I don't know where they live, but they live in Hollywood. It's like Roger Rabbit.
Yes.
Such a good movie. Still holds up.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So you've done a lot of mixing for music and sound design. You've produced albums. Have you done some sound design and mixing for cartoons?
That I have not done.
Seems like it would be a natural fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see where the path takes me. Mm-hmm. I think it would be. I think it would be a lot of fun for me. But I do love the energy of being in the session on the recording end of it.
Yeah.
So my perfect world would be kind of what I'm doing now, where I work at Nick from, basically 9 to 6. And then I go into my studio from, 7 until midnight. And then
when do you sleep?
What's that? That's what tea's for.
This is herbal tea, by the way. No caffeine.
No caffeine. I do.
But you enjoy that pace because you love what you do.
I do. I love it. And, maybe there'll be a time that I get hired to mix an animated show. And something that's, and maybe it's for a small company that, really is looking for something with quality, but can't really afford the big place. That maybe they'll come to me and we can work out a deal. But it's foundationally there's I think a lot to still learn.
Yeah,
and I'm in it for the journey.
Well, it seems like because of your willingness to learn, your path has given you some beautiful opportunities to do just that.
Very fortunate.
Do you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Very much so. Yes. Yeah. I have, and it's more and more every day. I just wake up every day and it's the trying to be a better version of me every day. And what can I do to make life an easier path?
For others.
For others. And that's it. It's, and if I'm able to do that, and I feel that, there's days that I don't feel like there's any failure. I think if you try, that failure is not really a word. You only fail when you don't try. But if you try, no matter how your day goes, it's still a success. And you know that tomorrow's another day. So you go home, you wash the day away, and then tomorrow's your next journey.
Yeah.
And, to just see how it goes. Aww. And hopefully there's no tech issues. Hopefully not.
Well, Ryan, it has been such a delight to get to chat with you. You have such a good energy, and thank you for enlightening us into what it is you do, your illustrious career, and we'll have to have you back on too. I feel like there's even more stories.
We'll dive deep.
We could go
we will dive deep into that.
Well, thanks for coming on Alicyn's Wonderland.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you guys so much for watching. This is a 2-parter, so I hope you enjoyed. If you missed part 1, we'll have links at the bottom. If you missed part 2, then that's coming next week, so hold tight. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe. See you next week. Bye. Bye.